So because
Yeah,
we've never done this MEM WB to EX MEM.
yeah, maybe the examples I took didn't do. That's why, I mean, it's good to do tutorial questions.
Okay.
Yeah, as I said, if you think about the hardware, right, implementing such a forwarding is difficult when compared to implementing the other implementation, other forwarding techniques. But it doesn't mean that this is not possible. So if somebody in the question paper, if it is not mentioned that this forwarding is, I mean, they have not mentioned what kind of forwarding they have enabled, you have to assume all kinds of forwarding.
So can I mention which one? Um, can I assume that okay, this is
Yeah,
the,
you can assume. That's what I'm saying. You can
and if I
assume. So
don't
this is
want,
a,
and if I
yeah,
don't want to enable this, can I like write back that this kind of forwarding is not allowed?
yeah, you can write that. But you have to justify why you are not assuming that forwarding.
So I don't know. Is there
Yeah,
any
it's yeah.
provided
So
there?
yeah, yeah. Then you can just write that the faculty who was teaching was dumb enough. He did not teach me this. So I'm assuming that there is no forwarding here. That's also a perfect valid assumption.
Okay.
The only thing is I can't explain why it is tricky to implement it, because then I have to explain something about load store queue. So, and then I don't want to confuse others also. So I don't know whether to explain that part or not. But this forwarding is a bit tricky to enable. So some of the architectures don't enable this. So they say, okay, we'll have a stall here. It is okay to have a stall here because implementing this is tricky in hardware because it has to consider other factors. But some hardwares do implement this. Uh,
Okay, sir. But
okay.
now the stall thing cannot be illustrated in this.
Yeah, sorry, can you tell me any other example which can be illustrated?
1 second, sir.
Okay, we'll take an example. I think I can make out an example. Okay, let's take these four instructions. Okay. So there is a dependency between this instruction. There is a dependency between this instruction. I hope everybody agrees that there is this dependency, right? So there are two dependencies. All right. This is a read after write hazard. You can read only after writing. You can read only after writing. So this is a read after write hazard. Whether this hazard will result in a pipeline stall or not is dependent on the kind of architecture that you implement. So we'll see how this architecture goes on. Right? So now let's say this is the first instruction. So I do instruction fetch, instruction decode, register fetch, execute, memory, and write back. Then I do instruction 2. I have instruction fetch. I can do instruction decode, register fetch. I can, so now if I have to do execute, can I do execute here?
No, sir.
No, right? Why? Because I can't bring the value from here because this is future in the pipeline. So whenever we are writing the pipeline, it is just timeline view, but this is not the actual hardware. You have to think about it from the hardware point of view. There are just, you can think about it as if you have five boxes with each other, connected to each other, and these boxes are something like this, and there are some registers which are connected to each other. So if one cannot pluck out, you cannot pluck out from the other thing. Where will you store it, right? Because you have only one place to store something. So if this particular execution does not happen, you cannot pluck out something from here because there is something still residing here and this person has not yet moved out from that particular house. So you cannot pull out something from here. That is not allowed. So that's why if there's a stall, it just percolates till the end. So let's say there is a stall here. Now can I have an execution unit here? Yes, because I just forward this to this execution unit. So I have an execution here, and then I have to have memory unit, and then I have write back unit. I cannot just have write back even though instruction 2 is not doing a memory operation because of this hardware. There is no connection where I just jump here. If I allow this, then there will be complications in the pipeline. I cannot implement this in the hardware. So I cannot just have something like this. So I have to go through this and this will, so this is two cycles. So I have to allow this. Is this clear?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So then I do instruction fetch. Here I can do instruction. This is where I think you're getting confused. I cannot do instruction decode register fetch here because this particular instruction decode register fetch is still storing what? What instruction is it storing here?
I2s.
I2 is stored, right? So I cannot pluck out something from here and keep it here, which means that there should be a stall here. Agree?
Okay, sir.
in the next stage, you are plucking out this I2 and keeping it in the execution stage. So this one I2 will move here. So which means that this becomes empty. If this becomes empty, I can pluck out the I1 and keep it here, which means that I can do instruction decode register fetch here. So just try to switch between the two views, then it will be easier. Then I4. So now can I do instruction fetch here? Can I do instruction fetch here?
No, sir.
No, right, because there is so what was this? I3. So there is I3 stored here, and there is no space empty here. Since I3 is being stored here, I cannot pluck I4 from somewhere. So which means that there is a stall here. So if there is a stall, it just percolates till the end, because this is a view which is different. But this is not the way the hardware behaves. This is just a view for you to understand. Is this clear for everybody? If somebody is not clear,
Yes,
go ahead.
got it. Thanks.
Yeah, just we'll take the poll again. Yeah, please answer the poll. If it's not clear, I can explain it. But you will have to work out examples. It gets kind of tricky at some places. But once you, so just keep switching between these two views. This is one view. This is the time view. This is the actual hardware view. If I cannot pluck out something from here, let's say this particular, why is that? If you wonder why is there a stall here, the reason is somebody else is there in your house, and that somebody else is I3. If I3 is sitting in this house, I cannot pluck I4. And why is I3 still sitting here? Because in this stage there was I2. And why is still I2 here? Because here in this particular time, right? This is one time view, right? This is one time view. You haven't yet seen the future. You have forgotten about the past. This is one time view. In this time view, I2 is still in the execution stage. And that's why you cannot pluck out I3 from here, which means that, this I3 you cannot pluck out from here, which means that you cannot pluck out I4. Okay. Yeah, please try out few more examples. It will become clear. But once it becomes clear, you will not forget it. It's always like cycling. Okay. Are there any other questions?
Sir, can you tell that structural hazard 1, tutorial 2, second question?
Hey, you can't ask me to do all tutorial questions, man. So the tutorial is given to you because you have to explore and do it on your own. But anyway, since you asked, I'll answer, but still. Okay, where is tutorial? Which one is the second question?
Yes, sir.
Suppose that 40% of the instructions hit a structural hazard in certain kind of pipeline architecture, that the ideal pipeline is ignoring the structural hazard is 1. Structural hazard a clock rate of 1.05 times than the clock rate of the processor, disregarding the performance, is the pipeline with or without it? Yeah, did anybody try this?
Yes, sir.
So what's the answer?
The pipeline without the hazard is 4/3 times faster.
Did anybody else get the answer? Okay, I would encourage you to try. I don't want to tell the answer, and don't ask the Devashi also. You should try it on your own, because if I just keep discussing the answers, it's just like feeding you. Right? So you'll have to try it out. If you're stuck somewhere, definitely we can discuss, but I would encourage you to try it on your own. Yeah, after trying out, let's say you have questions like this, then definitely I can answer. But just asking me to, I mean, if I just have to answer the entire thing, then you will not try it out, right? So what is it saying? 40% of the instructions hit a structural hazard in certain kind, which is the ideal pipeline. It's ignoring the structural hazard is 1. Has a clock rate of 1.05 times higher than the clock rate of the processor. And why is that? Because without the hazard, with the hazard, because this is assuming some kind of pipelining. Yeah, so for every 0.4 instructions, you are hinting 1 cycle extra. Yeah, this will be easier to do. So I would leave it to you. I mean, this is not, I don't think it's a complicated thing. Okay. Are there any other questions other than the tutorial questions?
There is forwarding and bypassing the same thing.
Yeah, you can call it the same things. You enable bypassing using forwarding. So I think you can call it the same thing. So can everybody try this question? Please try this question.
Approximately 1,65,495 nanoseconds.
1,64,000. Okay, let me check the question. What is the question? Assuming quantity plus the total time taken for 1,000 data items. Okay. Yeah, how did you get this? So what is the first? Okay.
It mostly depends on the slowest step. So I will
Okay,
take
good.
160 as the one. And there is
Okay.
5 seconds delay.
Okay.
5 nanoseconds. So 165 will be
Okay.
there. And
Okay.
like for 1000 things, and there are total 4 stages. So k plus n minus 1 into that 165 will be approximately the answer.
Okay, you're right, I think. Is there anybody else who has got this answer?
Yes, sir.
Did everybody get this answer? Okay, let's launch the polling again. If you are not able to get the answer, please let me know. Okay, a lot of people haven't got it. Okay, so what is this saying, right? Let's say, let's write down what is what. Okay, so there is a pipeline, 4-stage pipeline, right? And this is taking 150 nanosecond. This is taking 120 nanosecond. This is taking 160 nanosecond, and this is taking 140 nanosecond. So you will be dictated by the pipeline which has the 165, 420. What is 420? Okay. Number. Yeah. So now, and they also said that the delay between the pipeline stage is 5 nanosecond here. So there's a 5 nanosecond delay here. So you can assume, you can put this here, right? So you can assume that this is here. So this is taking 155 nanosecond because it's 125 nanosecond, 165 nanosecond, and 140 nanosecond. So now the first instruction to execute the first instruction, it will take 165 into 4 stages of the pipeline. Right? So this is 660. Right? 660. Am I right?
Sir, why
Yes.
165 into 4? We can
The
add
first
those terms.
No, the first instruction. No. Okay. It's a good question, I guess. Okay. Let me do this. Right. So let's say I do 150 plus 5 plus 120 plus 5 plus 160 plus 5 plus 140. Is that that's what you're saying, right? For the first instruction.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can anybody tell me why this is wrong? Why can't I do this? Okay. The other way to look at this problem is, let's say I have a pipeline. Let's say I have a 3-stage pipeline. This is taking 1 cycle. This is taking 2 cycle, and this is taking 1 cycle. Right? Okay, here you can add, in this example, I think you can add. So we have to come up with an example where you can add. Okay, I can't call this 2 cycle, then it will be a problem. Let's say how do I explain this? Okay. Let's say this takes 1 day, this takes 2 days, some construction work. Right? Let's say this takes 1 day, this takes 2 days, and this takes 1 day. And you have a buzzer. And you press the buzzer at some regular instance when whatever work has happened here, when you press the buzzer, whatever work has happened here will be moved to here. Right? When you press the buzzer, whatever work has happened in this stage will move to this stage. It's the same thing. Right? You had 3 stages in the pipeline. You had this is connected here. So think about it from the hardware perspective, right? And whatever work has been done here, it will be moved here. Right? And whatever work has been done here will be moved here when you press the buzzer. Now, can you press the buzzer every 1 day?
No, sir.
No, right? Why? What happens if I press after the end of 1 day? If I press the buzzer, the work that has been done here is complete, so it will move here. But this one will also move. But is the work complete after 1 day? Is this work complete after 1 day? No, right?
No.
That work is not complete. Do you guys agree?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this work is not complete. So which means that what is the frequency by which I have to keep pressing the buzzer?
2 days.
2 days. So please, yeah, I can press the buzzer. Right? Please remember this. I can press the buzzer only after 2 days. Right? I hope this is clear. I cannot press the buzzer at the end of 1 day, even though this takes 1 day. The reason is, if I press the buzzer, the same buzzer is connected to here and here. I cannot have multiple buzzers. I cannot have a multi-clock pipeline. I cannot connect the pipeline to different clocks. Right? So it's not possible because there's only one single clock. Of course, you can argue in different ways, but for your understanding, let's say there's only one clock. You can have only one clock for all the 5 stages of the pipeline, which means that there's only one buzzer. So even though your intentions are good, that after 1 day, why are these guys free? Even like, let's say these guys are really free. They are not doing anything. So they are happy. So I would encourage him, and I just press the buzzer after 1 day. Then this work will be moved here. These guys are happy, but these guys are not happy because they are taking 2 days and the work is not yet complete. So which means that you are messing up with the pipeline, which means that you should not be doing it. So you can have a buzzer only after 2 days. And why are you picking this as 2 days? Because that is decided by the longest duration thing. Which means that you are pressing a buzzer every 2 days, which means that how much time does this particular stage of the pipeline take? In actual execution, how much time does it take? Does it take 1 day? So will you consider 1 day or 2 days?
2 days.
2 days, right? So when will the first instruction come out? It will come out after 2 plus 2 plus 2, because that's the buzzer. There's only one buzzer that is connected. There's only one clock to each of the stages of the pipeline. That's why we say the pipeline length is duration of this clock is dictated by the longest pipeline duration cycle, right? So the other way to solve this problem is you have to balance out the pipeline, which means that either I will take this point. This example we saw, right? We split this 2 days into one day, then it's okay. Or we balance out such that this half a day is encapsulated, like say maybe 0.3 of the day is encapsulated here, 0.3 of the day is encapsulated here, and it retains 1.3 days. So this is 1.3 plus 1.3 plus 1.3. Then also it is okay. Then you can press the buzzer after every 1.3 days. But you remove. Keep in mind that this is connected. The end of this is connected to the buzzer. The end of this is connected to this buzzer. The end of this is connected to the buzzer. So when you click the buzzer, whatever is here will be moved out here. 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 And whatever is here will come here. So this entire thing that is dictating is one single clock. Is this okay? So that's what he means here. What whoever has said the question paper, he or she means, right? So for the first instruction, you cannot do this. This is not valid. So now you have to assume that each of the each of the states takes 165 nanoseconds. So the total time for the first instruction to complete execution is 165 into 4. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So now, after the first stage of the pipeline is done, you get one instruction every how many nanoseconds will it take for you to get one instruction? 165 nanoseconds. Yes, 165 nanoseconds, right? Because after 165 nanoseconds, you get one instruction out, which means that the total time execution is 660 plus 165 into 999. So this is your total time of execution. Does it make sense? This you can just say, right? So this is what 1000. You just put it 1000 here. So this will become 0.165, which I can take it as yeah. So this will be roughly 166 millisecond. Right? Yeah. This will be around 166. Microsecond. So this will be roughly around 166 microsecond. So the answer is around roughly, I don't know the exact answer, 166 microsecond. If you haven't understood this, please let me know. I can repeat it again, but you have to understand it. And can you answer if you haven't understood? Yeah, not just answering, but please let me know what you haven't, what is not clear. Okay, I think it's clear for everybody.
Sir, if this 5 nanosecond register delay would not have been there, then for the first instruction, we could have added all these 150 plus 120, 160 plus 140.
No, you still can't. So here there is no delay, right? So here, yeah, it's a good question again. So here you can't add the delay again. So even if there is, here we are not assuming any delay. But if I just add 150 plus 120 plus 160 plus 140, I am assuming that there is a buzzer which goes out at every 150 seconds, which means that there is a problem here, because you would push out something here, and at the end of 150, this guy has not yet completed execution, right? Because this is taking 160. If you press a buzzer after 150 nanosecond, this guy has not yet completed, because he has still 10 more. He still needs 10 nanosecond more to complete execution. And you press a buzzer, this will not, and this will mess up corrupt the data. So it does not depend on whether there's pipeline register or not. Of course, you can't have something without a pipeline register, but for argument's sake, this does not depend on the pipeline register. It just depends on the maximum duration of this.
Okay, sir.
And it need not be here in the middle. It can be here also. Right? Even if it is in the first, let's say the longest thing was here, then also you cannot press the buzzer, because only after completion of say 3/4 of the work you would push it here. But who will do this work? Nobody can do this work. is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I think only few people are answering the polls. So I am assuming for everybody else, either they don't care or they are not worried about it. Okay, can you do this problem? Okay, before you do this problem, I have one more question for you. Okay, what is the question? Yeah, so the question is that there is from tomorrow onwards, there is this mid-sem duration, so where I should not be taking any classes. So our next class, according to this timetable, this academic calendar, it means that I can have a class on Wednesday, that is on March 17th. Is that the way you want it?
So we have an exam on 17th as well.
You have an exam on 17th as well?
Yes, sir.
No, how is that possible?
We have the life sciences exam on 17th.
Okay, just give me a second. So this is a bit concerning. See, I see this. So actually, Krishna sir, I didn't know that I can't have classes on midsem because I don't know what I did last time. But I was saying I have. So there was a meeting he called. I said no, sir. I have class during that time. He said, what are you doing? You can't take classes during this green color thing. So he mailed me saying that. But he was very sure that all your exams will end here, so I can start taking classes from 17th.
So I don't know why we have.
Sir, we have biology exam, but it's from 3:30 to 5. All the other exams are from
Okay,
10.
so when? So can you tell me when all you have exam? Do you have exam on 9th?
No, sir.
On 10th?
No, sir.
So your exam starts on 11th?
Yes, sir, but like...
So please don't take class during exams. We're not really going to pay attention. I don't know.
Okay. No. Okay, I will not take classes during this time. But what about 17th?
So we have an exam on 17th.
No, but we'll be missing out. Yeah, but we'll be missing out a lot of classes, right? What should we do?
You may take some class on Saturday or something.
But will you guys come, show up?
Yes, so like we don't really have a choice. So.
No, it should not be a burden. But the thing is, see, there are too many topics to cover. We have just started with pipeline. I haven't even introduced you the hardware.
Class during Saturday, not during exam, is better than class during exam.
Okay, so can I take a class on, say, sometime here? Okay, maybe on Wednesday during the lab hours. Is it okay if I take a class for stretch for 1.5 hours, 2 hours?
Yes, sir. During
I will try to make it. I will try to make it as a story because I'll be introducing something about memory. So we'll keep it as a story, and you can just relax and listen to it. So we will build something called a parking lot. So for 1.5 hour, we'll build something called a parking lot, and it will have nothing to do with your memory as such, but concept will build you to the memory system. So next, maybe when I start this Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday I can't have classes. So when is your lab? Thursday, right?
Yes, sir. 18th.
Okay, so 18th, what we will do is, please, nobody should miss the class on the lab. On 18th, we'll start memory. Of course, pipelining is not yet complete, but I'll start memory on 18th, and we will spend the time building a parking lot so that it will give you and hold on the memory, and then we'll come back to pipelining. Maybe spend 2-3 days, and then go back to memory. Does that sound okay? Okay,
yes, sir.
I hope it sounds okay. But yeah, plus now can you do this question before, or at least can you attempt? I just want to make sure before the exam that you are comfortable with doing these questions. So do you have a class next after this?
No, sir.
Okay, can you just at least do this? So even if you don't, not able to do this, keep in mind that whatever pipelining that we are writing is a pipeline, is a timeline view, but that is not the way is there in the hardware. The hardware doesn't need a timeline view, right? It's just you have to think about it as hardware is connected with each other. So if there's a stall in one of the hardware, it cannot pluck out from something from here, which means that it cannot pluck out something. It's like somebody else is there in the room. Unless he or she moves away from that room, you cannot enter that room. Which means that if the person is stuck for a stall here, so it's like train coming into a station, and if there's only one track, right? So if there's one train that got delayed, all other trains following that track will get delayed. That's the timeline view that you should have. So if the train got delayed on the third day, let's say the train got delayed on March 30th, one train, there's only one track that is connected from say Bombay to Bangalore, and there's only one track. So if one train got delayed on March 30th, everybody else will get delayed. There's no way that you can stop it because that one train got delayed. But it doesn't mean that the trains up in front of you will get delayed because you got delayed, because you are looking so when you are talking about this stall, somewhere a stall, if you're talking about a stall here, this will not affect this because you are looking at the farther in the timeline. Right? So if there's a train that comes and there's a delay, it doesn't mean that there's a delay for the future train, for the trains that have already in front of you. There's a delay for the trains behind you. Okay, I don't know whether it made sense, but think about it from point of like 2 points of view. You should always think about pipeline as 2 points of view. One is the hardware point of view, where these boxes that are connected to each other. You are plucking out something and keeping in there, and you're plucking out something, keeping it here, plucking out something, keeping it here. If you can't pluck out something from here, there's a stall here, there's a stall here, there's a stall here. But for our understanding, we write it as the timeline view, where we when we take one instruction, we write the entire 5 cycles, then write the second instruction. Ideally, we should be writing something like this, right? In hardware, it is not happening the way we are writing. Ideally, the way it is happening is when I write instruction fetch here in cycle 1, in cycle 2, when I do instruction decode register fetch, at the same, this is what I should be writing. Maybe the way we write might be confusing. So if I'm doing execution 3 in cycle 3 here, then I am doing instruction decode register fetch and I am doing instruction fetch here. So I have to keep filling this and then go to this memory, right? But we write this entire thing here and then follow it up here. And this is just for our easier way, we write it this way. But the pipeline is actually filling it this way. So it completely fills this and completely fills this. So if there's a stall here, there will be a stall here. There will be a stall here. You cannot do away with that stall. And the duration of the pipeline stage, which is the maximum, is what declares the clock cycle time. You can think about the clock as a buzzer. You cannot have 2 buzzers, then it's just confusing. That 165 nanosecond exam question, I think, is a gate question. So this, I think, is also a gate question. Okay, did everybody write down this question? Just some of you wrote down this question. Is this a faculty meeting or what? It seems to be a faculty meeting. Do we have? Okay, so answer is 1.54. I hope you will be able to do it. So we'll break the class. I think we'll be meeting again next week, 17th. Okay. Okay, see you guys.